fly skydivers
Oh.
in Cloverdale, California. Yeah, so I moved to the North Bay area, and I flew skydivers there in an old 182, I think like 1959, with the straight tail, old straight tail Cessna 182s, and it had like an engine that was on steroids, and so that's how I got my my flight.
So that's
time.
how you build your hours on doing the dropping skydivers, huh? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I was able to do that. I only had to do that for about 6 months, which is, I know a lot of people, they instruct for years before they get a flight time, but I did it for like 6 months, and I was lucky enough to get picked up by Mesa.
Oh, okay.
Right after that.
Well, what year was that when you got picked up by Mesa? I'm curious.
Wow. So higher date was May 8th, 2007.
2007. Wow. Yeah. Man, you've been around a long time. I got. Yeah, man. I didn't get my first regional job until 2013, early 2014. So you've been around. What did you fly? I'm curious.
So I flew the Embraer 145.
Oh, it was back when they had a 145. Okay.
Yeah, I'm dating myself there.
Yeah, man. How was it? Like interesting. So 2007. So when I did my interview with Envoy, they were just really restarting the hiring process again, and it was after, obviously it was after the market crashed or whatever, so they're really starting to pick it back up. But it was still relatively difficult, like the interview process. So 2007, I'm curious, like how was your interview process, and how was, what was the process to get on with that with Mesa?
So 2007, so it was a little bit different than what you kind of got now. But I could imagine we do the same thing. It's been a while since I've done some interviewing.
Yeah.
So it was basically there's a typical HR. Then you had like a technical interview, you had a written test, like basic IFR, questions and whatnot. And then it came to like a one-on-one like technical interview. They ask you, so tell me about the airplane you flew and gross weight, and all that stuff. I guess pretty much to test your aeronautical knowledge and see what you remember and how much you studied. But it was a 1-day process. I was maybe in there interview. I mean, started around 8. I was probably gone around noontime, and got the job offer right on the spot.
Oh, really? So they told you right away? You're good.
Yeah. This is back when before pre-market crash, when airlines were hiring like crazy, and still 860, and they were just desperate for pilots. So if they could offer you a job, as soon as they could, as soon as the interview was over, they would offer it to you because they were just hurting for pilots. I mean, I got hired at 550 hours total time. And I had some people in my class that were even hired at like 300 hours total time. I mean, it was this is back in the days before the new regulations. But yeah, they were hurting for pilots and they were offering jobs on the spot.
Yeah, talking about the new regulations. So people, just in case the non-aviation people. So now you're required to have at least a minimum of 1,500 hours before you can even get to the regionals. And there's some exceptions for military, people with a college degree and whatnot. But keep it simple, 1,500 hours, and there's a minimum, a few things in there you need the requirement to complete that. But back in those days, you can get on. I mean, there were people getting on like 250 hours or whatever, some crap like that, sitting in the right seat, second in command. You couldn't be a captain until, like, what was it like back then? It's like, so could you be a captain? What was the minimum hours to become a captain?
So if I remember correctly, so each airline, they have their own requirements, and I know that you can use like your experience in the right seat. I think 50% of your SIC time. I necessarily don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But it depended on if you get your FAA minimums and how much your SIC 120 time and all. Don't quote me on any of that.
Yeah.
But from my point where I got hired on 550 hours, you're looking at an upgrade probably about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
2-year upgrade at that time. Yeah.
So how was Mesa back then? I'm interested. How was that? How was that company?
It's kind of like the whole thing, and it's like, when you go in for an interview, don't say anything bad about your previous airline.
That's true. I agree.
my thing I've always said, and I've counseled people, especially on the regionals. You get your time and you get out. The regionals are good for getting to it's just a segue. It's a transition period to get to where you want to get to, right?
Yeah.
So Mesa was exactly that. It gave me the hours I needed, and it set me up. Because you got a way 2008 happened with a market crash, and then like soon after the regulations were changing, and so it gave me the flight time I needed so I could get my ATP, so that when I came back into the industry, I was able to able to get on without any any hiccups or anything. But no, it gave me good experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
How long were you there for?
But it was difficult.
Okay.
And I was there May 2007 to August 2010. A little over 3 years.
Yeah. So what happened with that? Did you get? So that was 2010. So that was after the market crashed. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I can figure what happened there.
Yeah. So Mesa started laying off, and then a couple of setbacks they took. Delta getting, because we used to fly the 145s for Delta.
Oh, okay.
And Delta pulling those 50. Yeah, Delta pulled those 50-seater jets from us, and they required us to start furloughing. And I remember when they started furloughing, I was already pretty senior on the FO list, and I remember a good friend of mine, I used to joke with him. I was like, "Yeah, only way I'll get furloughed is if it's displacement of biblical proportions or whatever." And then lo and behold. The very last class they furloughed was mine.
Oh, really?
So I ended up furloughed. Yeah. So finally, the chop. I ended up on the chopping block in 2010. Yeah.
2010. Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll talk about Mesa. I'm not gonna say bad about Mesa either. I'm gonna keep it real. But if you want to kind of explain for those people who don't know, they're probably like, "What is Mesa?" Right? Because a lot of the non-aviation people, they fly American Airline, Delta Airline, United Airline and whatnot. Like, we never heard of Mesa Airline. So Mesa Airline is a lot of the airlines do subcontracting. They subcontract the smaller airline system to do the small flying for them, or the cheaper flying for them, or whatever you can say that. So a lot of times you're flying, if you're on those little small planes going from Dallas to what's a little small city in Texas?
Abilene,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dallas to Abilene. It might have like an American Airline or most like American Airline scheme on there, but it's probably not American Airline. Just keep it simple as that. So that's what Mesa did. They did subcontracting work for those larger airlines. So we call those regionals. I hold my breath and see